Apologies. Welcome to Let's Connect. It is Tuesday, the 25th of October, 2022, and I am so happy to be here with you on 88.5 Soufriere FM. Looking forward to a very prosperous and wonderful end of the year 2022, and looking forward to a great show this evening. Our
Cowboys don't cry.
Sorry about that. All right. Sorry about that. So our guest, Honorable Emma Hippolyte, will be joining us a little later in the program, as we know that she is a very busy lady with a very hectic schedule, but she will be making some time for us a little later on. So we will get started without her. I want to start off with giving some shout outs. Anybody experience? We know we missed out most of the month of October, so I want to say happy birthday to all persons who celebrated within the month of October. Those of you who we did not get a chance to wish happy birthday directly, we want to say belated birthday greetings to Mr. Anthony Charles, who celebrated on Sunday, and anybody else who was unable to get their birthday shout outs on our show this month. We want to say happy belated birthday to you, and hoping that this month has been very good to you. We want to say good night to Miss Sis, who I'm told is a very avid follower of our program. I want to thank you for your kindness and your good words sent to me. I received your message. I want to say good night as well to Miss Claudia Prevo, always keeping it locked to Let's Connect. Good night to you, Miss Fancy Bowens. I know you're listening, Mr. Delta Bowens, always locked on to us in St. Vincent, always keeping it locked to 88.5 Soufriere FM. We want to give a special shout out to all our communities, always keeping us locked. We have those of you in Fort Jacques, we want to say good night to you in Mini, Belvedere, Saint Philip, Boisden, Belfort, Deville, Espérance, Belle Plaine, Font-Jalib, Mont-Lacroix, Chateau Belair. Good night to you all. Those of you at Etongs, good night to you in Zenon, Colabet. Good night to you in Sulphur Springs. Those of you listening in Focaco, good night to you. In Diamond, in Bouton, good night to all those of you listening in Bouton. Want to say good night to those of you at Margaretut, Market Road, Palmis, Fort Beignet. Big up to all our Fort Beignet crew members. We want to say good night to all our caretakers, elderly caretakers, those of you in on around Soufriere town, those of you all in the environs. We want to say good night to you all. I know you celebrated Elderly Day last week, Thursday, and we had a great time with the elderly at the St. Isidore Hall. So we want to say good night to all those of you who participated in that event. Those of you who work with the elderly in other ways, we want to say good night to you. Good night to those of you at New Development. Good night to Wingsville. Good night to you in Church Street, Smoke Hill, and the Gulf. Good night to you guys at Lenny's Hill. And last but definitely not least, we want to say good night to all those of you keeping it locked, as always, in Barron's Drive. So welcome to the Let's Connect program once again. It is Tuesday, the 25th of October, 2022. Now, our first topic of the evening, and hopefully Honorable Emma Hippolyte will give us some more information when she comes on. But we just concluded the first cannabis symposium, which was done in collaboration with TNI, which is the Transnational Institute, and the St. Lucia Cannabis Task Force. Okay, so there was a panel discussion which took place on Thursday at the Financial Administrative Building in Point Seraphim. It was very well attended. We had members from ICA, from the Ethiopian African community. We had a lot of members representing the Rastafarian community. We had Andrew D. Carris on our program last week, Tuesday, who was telling us about it. So this event took place on Thursday. Lots of members from Bureau of Standards as well, from the different ministries, Ministry of Agriculture. We had representatives from Ministry of Health. The panel had some very great persons on it. We had Dr. King, who was on the panel. We had the head of TNI on the panel. We had a doctor from Jamaica who gave us a very interesting insight into how the industry developed in Jamaica and some of the things they did wrong, some of the things they did right. So we had a great look at that. We looked at the anatomy of the plant. We had a doctor from Dominica as well. And it was such a interesting forum. There were persons who are currently working on various products that are on display. There are lots of footage currently on the Soufriere constituency office page on Facebook, and the event was also live on YouTube. So you can definitely get access to it, even though it has passed. But it was definitely something that was worth a listen. There were lots of great questions posed. There was a great question and answer segment with a lot of interesting things being said. There was one company, I shall be having them on my show next week, Tuesday, and they had some very interesting insights about some of the things that is going on in some of the other countries that have already legalized marijuana, such as America and Canada. So we're definitely going to be looking at some of that, hopefully when the minister comes in to give us some more information. Sorry, Mr. Bernard Haynes, and those of you listening on our live chat, you are definitely very important. I want to say shout out to Babano in the house, Mr. Edward, nice to have you. Barra Drive in the house. I'm so happy to see we have some participants in our chat room tonight. Shout out to Babano in the house, Mr. Edward. So please bear with me. I'm just now checking the chat comments. So please keep up with the conversation tonight, and definitely we're going to be um, giving you guys your a listening ear. We want to get all our feedback from you. So good evening to you, Mr. Bernard Haynes. Thank you for keeping it locked to Let's Connect. Miss Deborah Joseph, good night to you as well. Andy, good evening to you. Miss Camilla Jean, good evening. Welcome to the program. And good night to you in one last stick. All right. Thank you so very much. All right, wishing advance birthday greetings to Kendall Edward, who's celebrating tomorrow. Happy birthday to you, Kendall. Hope that we're starting off your birthday for you in a grand style here at 88.5. Okay, Miss Buffer is saying she's not hearing us. Miss Buffer, please let me know if you're hearing me now. Okay, I think we're I think at the beginning my mic was off at the very beginning. All right, so tell me if that has changed. If you're not hearing me, please let me know. So good night to you, Ms. Buffer Prosper. Ms. Buffer Prosper is the supervisor for the elderly care program. I want to give you all the kudos on a very well done event last week. Also, we have some upcoming events in terms of the foundation and the symposiums. The foundation has been hosting a series of wonderful symposiums informing the public on different aspects. We've had agriculture, we've had education, we've had sports, we've had tourism. So on the 3rd of November, there is going to be a symposium on spiritual development on the 3rd, and on the 4th, there is going to be health and wellness symposium. Okay, so the foundation, I want to give you all kudos as well. You've got some very interesting things coming up. I'm definitely going to make an effort to be at those two symposiums. I've missed quite a few because of other things being scheduled on the same day, but I don't think I have anything scheduled as yet for the 3rd and the 4th, so I'm going to make a good. Okay, I'm getting a notice here that they're hearing the background music. Okay, Miss Buffer, you're hearing something. I'm not sure. Let's hope. Okay, we just keep trying to make sure that the sound is good. Okay, if anybody else is hearing any background music, please let me know. We're gonna work on that. Okay, we wanna say shout out happy birthday to Enda, who is celebrating. Happy birthday to you, Enda. That's coming from Farrell Boucher. Okay, happy birthday to you, Enda. Okay, please let us know if anybody else is hearing our sound in any sort of way. Okay. All right. So, like I was saying, there is footage of the cannabis symposium, and we're going to be periodically updating our Facebook pages with more footage as we get it. There's still a lot of incoming footage, but it was such a well attended event, so you can expect that there was different media houses present as well. And like I said, it was live on YouTube. If anybody needs the link, please reach out to me. Okay, so that we can share that link with you. Okay, we're getting another notice of serious noise in the background. So I'm going to have my technician check on that. I'm not sure. Maybe I should just bring down all the other and just leave my mic on. Bring everything else down. I'm bringing down channel 6 and 7 and leave channel 5, or should I bring down channel 5 as well? Bring everything down? Okay. Let's see if that helps. Okay, let's see if that helps. Please let me know if you are hearing anything else other than my voice. Okay, Buffer said it stopped. So one of those was creating a noise. So I bring down. Okay, so we should be good. Please let me know so that we can continue. If we can hear me directly. Thank you for the assistance, my online chat. Definitely appreciate that. Okay. We also had an activity on Sunday which was sponsored by Piton and hosted in collaboration with the Soufriere Constituency Council. I was unable to attend, but I did hear great things. And I do hope that all those of you who were in attendance had a safe and enjoyable time, and that you definitely got home safe and was able to enjoy the festivities. I heard the music was great. I heard that the youth came out and enjoyed themselves, which is what we hope for all the time, having some good, clean fun, enjoying yourselves in a safe environment. So I do hope that that was the experience for all. So once again, thank you to our sponsors, Peter Bear, and in collaboration with the Soufriere Constituency Council. I heard that it was a great vibe, very well attended. Kudos to all the organizers, kudos to the sponsors. Hopefully, we can do something next year even grander for Journée Creole. Keeping my fingers crossed that Soufriere will have Journée Creole next year. Okay. I want to give an update. I've been getting a lot of persons coming in and asking about the Flow $20 packages. So we did do a follow up, and there is two issues. One of which is that there seems to be a shortage of modems. So Flow is going to continue connections once they have received their modems. Okay, so we're still monitoring the sound. So those of you listening, please let me know whether or not you can hear me clearly. If you're hearing any background sounds, Mr. Haynes says it's better. So please keep me informed. We're just making sure that our sound is clear for you tonight. And when Minister comes on as well, you'll let us know if you're hearing any distortions of the sound. Okay, so yes, like I was saying, there was two issues. One being that there is a shortage of modems, and that's a similar situation with Lucilec for those of you who have been requesting assistance in terms of lights in certain areas. Lucilec is also missing some equipment that they're trying to get in terms of installing lights. So we're aware of the situations, but with having to bring in the equipment or shortages of equipment in both in the instances of Lucilec and Flow. So bear a little patience. Also, initially, although we did ask whether or not persons with any outstanding balances would still be able to be connected, there seems to be some issues on that note as well. So I recommend that any persons who have not been connected as yet with the Flow package to please check with Flow as to what your status is. It could be that you're one of those that they're waiting on the modem, or it could be that there is some payment issues that you need to rectify with Flow. And I do apologize because we did announce early on that that would not be an issue. So there seems to be some sort of an issue along those lines as well. But please rectify your particular issue with Flow directly. Okay. So if you have any other issues other than that, you can feel free to stop by at the Soufriere constituency office and let us know that you're experiencing difficulty in terms of you have not been connected as yet, or maybe you're not sure if you're on the system. You can always come in and we'll verify that we have put you on the system. Okay, so hopefully that clarifies the issue of the Flow $20 bundle connections. All right, so I'm seeing here that the vendors were unhappy with their sales. So and that's an unfortunate situation. I'm not sure what we can do about that. Maybe I think we need to maybe have some sort of workshop with the vendors in terms of when these events are happening. Maybe they can do some sort of collaboration. So, like, maybe not everybody needs to have bouillon. If one is already doing bouillon, maybe if one is doing pigtail bouillon, one can do a fish soup. So maybe everybody should not have the same dishes. That might be an issue. But also, we have to remember that everybody is suffering with low funds these days. And that might have been something that affected the situation. So, an unfortunate thing that the vendors were not happy with their sales. Okay, but hopefully, the next one, and maybe we'll see how next weekend turns out with Choiseul and Castries is hosting the Juniqueo. Okay, so like I said, the flow issues, we hope that we can rectify those for you all. So if you have any more flow issues, please come in and let us know. Okay. I want to also make an announcement that the Honorable Emma Hippolyte will be having her office day in Force Jacques on Friday this week from 12 to 4 p.m. So if you're in the Force Jacques area, that is in Mini, Espérance, these areas, St. Philip, if you need to say something to the minister, if you need to see her, she will be available between the hours of 12 and 4 p.m. on Friday this week. Okay, that is Friday the 29th. Is it the 29th? 27th, 28th, Friday the 28th, Friday the 28th of October from 12 to 4 p.m. Right? She's still not in as yet. We're gonna, yeah, like I said, we're understanding that Minister is very busy. She is currently in another meeting, so we're hoping that she'll have time to come out to speak with us. And also, there's an issue that I would really love that she would be able to give us some insight on. I see that some of the gossip mills have already been churning, and I would love for her to give us some clarity on the memorandum of understanding that was signed between Global Port Holdings and the government of St. Lucia in relations to the waterfront projects for Castries and Soufriere. So I would love for her to give us some information on that. Also, those of you who are listening and those of you on our live Facebook chat, please think of any questions that you would like us to ask Honorable Emma Hippolyte when she does come in. Okay, so let's go back to my initial topic, which was the cannabis symposium. Um, like I said, there was lots of information regarding the plants itself, recognizing the plant, what the plant can be used for. We had spoken a little bit about hemp and the uses of hemp with Angelique Harris on our last show. So we did do a lot more of that, and we did look at other things that could be done with byproducts of the cannabis plant. So there were medicinal uses, lots of oils and tinctures and products. There's also uses in food. The seeds are edible, the hemp seeds are edible. There's also infusions that can be done with oil, butter, and different fat based products where you can use them and incorporate them into your regular cooking. There was lots of information on what the different plants can do. So there's the different leaves, the broadleaf and the narrow leaf, and which one is known as sativa and which one is known as indica. There was lots of wonderful information, lots of new information for persons who were unaware of the different uses of the plant. There were, like I said, presentations from Dominica, Jamaica, Canada, different places, and persons who had been involved in the industry in different ways and who were able to present their findings, their research. And it was a very well established panel. The information was well received and very valuable. Okay. I really wanted to find out from the minister if there was anything that surprised her in terms of the information that she received. And I know for me, the fact that hemp can be used as animal feed was new to me. That was something I never realized before until we had that conversation with Mr. DeCaris. And also that you could eat hemp seeds just like you eat some sunflower seeds. That was definitely an interesting prospect. And he did come up with the idea of hemp clothing, getting the hemp fabric. And he had an interesting idea, which he did present at the panel as well, of where you could have a pattern for clothing and mothers could stay home and do pieces, like for example, like he used in terms of making a gilet, where they would do those pieces and then there would be a collection every week. And then there would be an assembly point, a factory for assembly. So different women would be able to stay home, work from home, be able to sew these patterns, sew these pieces together, and then there would be a collection every week and taking them to a central point where they would be assembled, and then we would have a thriving fashion industry made from hemp fabric. And it was very interesting to think of the ways these things could be put into place. And one of the other companies that was present, they mentioned that in Oregon, it's part of the constitution that funds that are received from the cannabis industries can be put into it can be placed in some way in the law, in the constitution, that a portion of those profits goes back into the community in terms of helping out with schools, or in terms of doing road projects and things of that nature. And I found that was a very interesting thing. And if that can be done here, it would be wonderful to see how the cannabis industry can go from being demonized into being something that is so helpful that it completely changes our situation socio-economically, educationally, infrastructurally. It would be wonderful to see how it would be incorporated into our current society, and hopefully we could make that happen. So that was definitely an interesting aspect of the program. All right. I'm going to take a short break so that I can try and contact the minister to see what her status is.
Bins were placed at the waterfront to accommodate small garbage disposals such as paper plates, plastic cups, bottles, and wrappers. The public is advised that there should be no disposal of household or commercial waste. The waterfront area does not contain a public disposal site. Offenders will be prosecuted.
The Fossajak Credit Cooperative Society Limited wishes to inform its members and the general public of its new and more convenient opening hours effective Monday 1st August 2022. Monday to Friday 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 8 a.m. to 12 noon. We look forward to your continued patronage and to providing you with our usual quality service.
The public is hereby informed of the regulations for the Soufriere jetties. The jetties are managed by the Soufriere Foundation. Operational hours are between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily. During these hours, no unauthorized personnel will be allowed on the jetties. No vending, no loitering, and no visitor harassment will be tolerated. The main and boardwalk jetties are to be used for the disembarkment of visitors to Soufriere and therefore should be a safe zone for all. Anyone found violating these regulations will be prosecuted.
Losing a loved one is hard,
It can be heartbreaking not being able to pay your final respect. Let us help. Have you considered live streaming? Livestream 758 can help bring the funeral to you in the comfort of your home. Call or WhatsApp us today at 758 519 9279. All streams will be broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. Watch on your phone, computer, or television. Livestream 758, here when you can't be.
Lucelec is advising customers and the general public that its customer service office at Sans Souci is closed until further notice. The closure is out of an abundance of caution for the health and safety of staff and customers to facilitate unforeseen remedial work to address air quality issues resulting from some equipment failure. The company's customer service offices in Rodney Bay and Viewfort and its remote options are all available to serve the public with Lucelec's full suite of services, including bill queries and payments. Lucelec regrets any inconvenience caused to its customers and thanks them for their patience and understanding.
www.shopmassystoresSLU.com. It's Massy Stores online supermarket where you shop and pay for your groceries online. Try it today and get a chance to win free delivery on your next 4 orders. It's simple and convenient. Choose delivery to your doorstep with quick delivery or collect curbside, which is absolutely free. Massy Stores online supermarket. Shop now. Choiseul and Soufriere, two of the island's scenic West Coast locations, and the home of three conveniently located Massy Stores supermarkets. We've got all your grocery needs covered, plus convenience services like our deli and ready-to-go meal offerings, and our pharmacy at La Pelle Soufriere. As you shop, check out our money savers for savings and more value, and then earn Massy loyalty points when you are checking out. Now that's a good reason to visit us. Massy Stores, our family, serving your family.
COVID 19 has changed education. Let us take on the challenge head on. This changing situation calls to attention a new orientation. Parents, students, teachers, we are all in together.
Students, your education is your responsibility.
Parents, be closer and more proactive in this reality.
Teachers, innovate, recreate, show your practicality.
Students, no time to linger.
Parents, no time for hunger.
Together we can conquer. This is a message from the staff of the Soufriere Comprehensive Secondary School.
The Soufriere Foundation wishes to remind the public that Port Soufriere is a port of entry to the island. To ensure close adherence to the ISPS, International Security and Port Facility Code, it was necessary to ensure that the standards and protocol at the jetties were not being compromised. The boardwalk jetty is a very active area during the operating hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. As such, docking space is in high demand. The management of the Soufriere Foundation solicits the assistance of all vessel operators and owners who dock at the boardwalk jetty overnight to kindly remove their vessels before 9 a.m. daily to prevent unnecessary confusion regarding docking space and to accommodate all its customers' needs. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated.
This is Sin picking up 88.5 ST. You know how we do it. Nobody else do it like we do.
All right, so welcome back to Let's Connect. I want to apologize for the little break. We trying to get our honorable Emma Hippolyte on. She told me to give her 3 minutes. So she is just ending in a meeting and she is going to join us virtually on our program. So just bear a little bit of patience with us while we wait our minister coming in. Like I just want to do a quick recap. We spoke a little bit about the cannabis symposium, which was held on Thursday last week, Thursday, October 20th, that was. and it was at Point Seraphine at the Financial Administrative Building, and it was very well attended, very healthy discussion on cannabis, and hopefully the industry will be progressing very well. We expect the next cannabis symposium to be on the 30th of November, so we do hope that our turnout shall be greater at that next one. We also have Ginequil being celebrated next weekend. So we want to ask everyone to go out and have a safe and enjoyable time. Enjoy all the great foods. I know those of you who are overseas are missing out on some of our great local eats, which will be enjoyed next week. And we also want to remind you of the Flow bundle, the Flow $20 bundle. We're still signing persons up if you're interested, but also being aware that Flow is currently out of modems. So there's a bit of a delay, but as soon as the modems are on island, they will continue with connections. And also, Emma Hippolyte's office day on Friday this week will be at 4 Sejac from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. How is everyone?
Hi, good night. Welcome to the Let's Connect program, Honorable Emma Hippolyte. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry, I'm joining you late, but I had another Zoom.
Understandable. We thank you for making time out for us.
How was it been?
I was just saying to our listeners that we had a very successful cannabis symposium last week Thursday. Can you tell us how that went for you?
Well, yes, successful. I think if we go into the details, um, I believe it was good that we had international brothers and sisters with us so that they could share the experiences, especially the TNI group, being here and sharing with us their knowledge of the industry. Also, it was good that we had other Caribbean brothers and sisters with us. When you think of the Thursdays, the panel discussion, the richness and the depth of the conversation that we had, I think we've learned from it. And tomorrow, God willing, our subcommittee will meet again to see the lessons that we've learned from Thursday's meeting and how it shapes the final product for St. Lucia. But I think all in all, I must say that I was very pleased with the outcome. The level of detail, and it was telling us that we're on the right track, especially as it relates to how we protect our young people in particular, for example. But also, I felt we used the first day to articulate very clearly some of the framework in which we see the industry moving on in St. Lucia, and the fact that we want to protect our minors, our young children, that we need to work with the schools, with parents to ensure that, and the young people themselves, so that we protect young persons and do not, and let them understand that it is not good to get into the use of cannabis or cannabis products at a young age. I think that is very important for me going forward, especially all the research and experience of persons telling us that we have to be careful about this. And the other is that I think the message wanted to be very clearly going back in all the protection and trying to build that industry. That one key thing is that we want persons to respect the space of others, and the whole issue of there'll be no smoking in public places and in public, to me was a message you wanted to present very clearly.
So, was there anything that you found surprising, the information that you received that was new to you after the panel discussion?
In terms of new information, I believe what was interesting was the level, for example, when the medical doctors gave the the makeup of the plant and its comparison to the makeup of our own bodies, and the impact, the level of the strength of the plant can have on persons. For example, one issue that was, I think it was presented by Dr. King, was that he made it very clear that if you are of a family with certain predispositions, then you ought to know that you should not touch this drug. Which was interesting because subsequent to that, I had some conversation with some persons who had friends who had some negative reaction to the smoking of marijuana. And the comparison was the persons, the relatives of that individual already had certain dispositions. So that individual technically should have kept away from the use of cannabis generally. So I think it's a lot of information that we need to put out there so persons are well informed about cannabis. What in the conversation as well, and I think it was when Pancho was speaking, was bringing out the fact that maybe we were focusing on the traditional growers of cannabis, the traditional users of cannabis, but we had not paid sufficient attention to what I would call, he called the jugglers, but it was more the middlemen, the persons who make a living out of selling the cannabis to the users at the moment. And how do you engage those persons? Because so far in our deliberation, I believe we have not narrowed on them enough,
Okay.
because they too are running a business.
And like he said, they too have families to feed, and you
Yes,
expect them to get as involved with the medical industry in terms of getting prescriptions and all that sort of thing. So we have to find some way to include them in the industry.
in the industry. Yes.
Like you mentioned, in terms of what Dr. King said about, well, not just Dr. King, but both the doctor from Dominica as well mentioned
Yeah.
that our bodies produce some form of cannabinoid naturally, which is why we react the way we react to the cannabis. So it was definitely
Mhm.
something to see that we had that sort of a connection to the plant that we did not even realize. Yes. So there's definitely a lot of eye-opening information at the panel.
Yes.
Any product that you tried or you considered trying?
Well, there was what was interesting as well for me was you realize there was a couple there with quite a bit of what you call value added products already. So they were already in the manufacturing stages of products from cannabis. And what was interesting, remember there was this lady who had, well, there was a product that was not a cannabis product, but it was a traditional. It was almost like what we traditionally call the abacontoe, but with a lot more different, what I would say are medicinal roots. So it was interesting that they had used that and it was marketing it as a product. Um, the second for me was the fact that they had used, they were using in some of the products that they were using, um, they had added quite a few other things to it. So now they had whatever it was, like cannabis toffee and all types of bits. It was interesting seeing all the value added products that they had. What I tried, they had an item with honey,
Yes, the miracle syrup.
miracle syrup,
Hmm.
and but now is how do you measure all of these items? How do you test them? How do you know the content? And when you manufacture them, how do you ensure the consistency in terms of you have one, for example, if you have one set of properties today, and the next time you test the product, that the level of those properties vary. I think more than anything else now is how, and the comfort I had was that with the diagnostic lab at Union, a lot of these products should receive should be tested so that persons know exactly what they're purchasing. I think this is critical.
Well, that company is Philo St. Lucia. They'll be on our program next week, Tuesday. So I'm going to definitely take note of some of those questions to ask because I do believe it's a husband and wife team, and I do believe the husband said that he has done for research because they did start out in America and they had been doing a lot of research into what the different products entailed, what it had, how much THC, how much CBD, and how long it takes to. Because he did, I think that was one of his comments during the question and
Mm,
answer segment, where he said he encouraged other companies to do that research as well to know what their product entailed, how much of it takes to affect somebody based on their height, their weight. He mentioned that sort of thing. So I think that's definitely something they have on their mind when they create their products. So that's one of those things we'll be getting into in depth with them at next week's show.
okay.
All right. I also mentioned a little earlier before you came on. I gave the foundation kudos for all the symposiums they've been hosting, and they have two more coming up on the 3rd and 4th of November. The 3rd, there is a spiritual development symposium, and on the 4th, there's a health and wellness symposium.
And to encourage persons to join in and have that final set of conversation,
That's right.
because after that then we get into the final preparation of the strategic plan. And I must say, I in addition to commending the foundation, I would like to commend the fishers, because the last one we had very active and very good participation from the fisher folk.
All right. Now, speaking of fisher folk, we have some rumor mills turning saying that the document you signed last week Thursday was selling the cashews and Soufriere Harbor. So I hope that you can dissuade some of these rumors and tell us
Selling,
exactly what.
selling the harbor.
Yes, there's something circulating. I'll have to send it for you afterwards. There's something circulating to that effect from the
Um,
opposition.
well, there's always mad people. There's always mad people around, but you
MOU.
fought all of them. You fought all the mad people who were over at the turning point
Oh yes, that's what we thought. But no,
and the
apparently
well and the wellness center.
all about the place. So, what can you tell us about the signing of the MOU with the Global Port Holdings Company?
Okay, the Global Potholing Company. If you Google them, it's as the name implies, is a company that has now invested in quite a few port developments throughout the world. Um, they are in different parts of the world. Now they have focused a bit on the Caribbean. They have done some work in Antigua. They've just concluding some work in the Bahamas. And now we've signed with them to do work in Port Castries and Port Soufriere. So pretty soon we'll be able, with their assistance, to share, have some conversation with the people of Soufriere and to see what they are suggesting as some of the work that we must do um, in this to improve the Soufriere waterfronts. So I am very excited about this because, as you know, Soufriere being the mega of tourism for St. Lucia, and we have a very, maybe one of the deepest um, harbors, and we need to do some work to improve on the harbor. Persons who know that the existing jetty um, has some structural problems. And when we have to think of tourism going forward, how do we use our harbor? How do we encourage more visitors to visit us through our oceans? How do we improve in terms of the experience of the yachters that's coming in there, and a lot of things. So how do we improve even for ourselves as persons from Soufriere? How do we enjoy the waterfront a lot better? So that is what we are working on. And I'm extremely pleased that the government has actually signed this MOU so that we can improve the physical infrastructure of our city, of our town. And all St. Lucians should be happy for that. So those persons in the, as you said, spreading rumors that we've sold, they are not true St. Lucians. True St. Lucians and persons who want to see Soufriere and St. Lucia develop would be happy that you have a government that is trying to improve on the physical. Because when we improve the physical infrastructure, what another objective is to increase the number of passengers arriving via cruise. And as our tourism industry improves, then we create more work for our young persons and our women and our men. And as persons get work, then the economic activities in Soufriere and in St. Lucia increases. So it is all for proper development of our people.
I'm definitely 100% in agreement with that. And I look forward to seeing the project develop and for us to keep the naysayers in the back where they belong. Unfortunately, we do have to announce some very sad news. Apparently, earlier this evening, not too long ago, there was a drive-by shooting incident in Cicero, and multiple persons have been reported injured.
In
I'm not sure
Cicero?
about it, but yeah, apparently multiple people were shot or in otherwise injured. I'm not sure of the total numbers at this point. I think it was breaking news just at 8 o'clock when we started the program. I have not seen anything else as yet in terms of that, so we're not sure of exactly what happened, but it was a reported multiple shooting, drive-by shooting in Cicero tonight. Very sad situation going on in St. Lucia.
Yes, yes.
You had mentioned you had a program you wanted to undertake in terms of the boys in Soufriere. Do you have any information about how that program is heading? Is it underway?
Yes. You know, when we looked at our, in fact, today, the first thing we maybe, even before I speak about that, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but you know, earlier today, we at the Cool Breeze Center, we had what you call a forum on marine safety and security. You know, a national marine safety and security forum took place in Soufriere today, because I addressed them today. And we had persons representing the St. Lucia Marine Unit, police unit. We had persons representing the police. We had persons representing SLASPA, which is responsible for the bay. We had persons representing the SMMA, the Soufriere Marine Management Authority. We had persons representing the Soufriere Regional Development Foundation. We had persons representing the tourism sector in Soufriere. We had persons from IGY Marina who's representing the yachting sector, and all those persons came together. You had persons from the Ministry of Tourism, and you had persons from the Fisheries Department. All those persons sat today to discuss some of the security and safety issues that are affecting us on the ocean nationally, and more specifically also the Soufriere problems affecting Soufriere. And then they sat down and document what they see as solutions to those problems. So that was fundamental. But one of the problems we're having for Soufriere, you may have heard, and persons listening would have heard, that at least on 3 occasions you had yacht persons, or at least 3 individuals, boarding yachts and stealing and taking things from the yachters. And this has given us a lot of negative press um, among the yachting sector. Also, we've had, in Soufriere in particular, a lot of young boys of school age who have been harassing the visitors. This matter has been discussed at different levels. I have held several meetings with the police to deal with some of those issues. I have brought it up at the level of the Cabinet of Ministers. The Prime Minister has at least authorized the convening of a particular meeting with all key stakeholders. So the meeting today was as a result of that first meeting that the Prime Minister called. So that was SLASPA responding to that call and bringing all stakeholders together to try to arrive at solutions. But then back to your specific question as to what we are doing with the boys. What we've done at that meeting with the Prime Minister, we also had persons from the Soufriere and from the St. Lucia Social Development Fund, the SSDF. And they have agreed to work with us on a program called Boys Matter. So they are developing the program, and we need to ensure that the young boys who are given the challenges in terms of harassment to the tourism, to our visitors, will be part of this Boys Matter program, where they will get assistance. The parents will be getting assistance, will be getting counseling to try to get them to be back at school, and a lot of other things, get training, and so on. But in essence, we'll be working with both the children, the youngsters, and the parents to try to correct some of the problems that we are seeing.
Okay, that sounds good. I do hope that this gets underway as soon as possible and that it is a successful program, especially as we do want our boys to know that they indeed matter. So,
Mhm.
so something I hope that we can get to be a successful program, especially for the boys of Soufriere. I want to encourage those of you listening and those of you on our Facebook live chat. If you have any final questions for Honorable Emma Hippolyte, now is the time to send it into the chat. And we do want to extend condolences. There is a note that there is possibly 2 dead from the shooting, the drive-by shooting. So we would like to take the moment to extend condolences to the family and friends of this tragic situation, and hopefully that there won't be any more casualties reported as the time goes on, because we do know this is just still breaking news, and hopefully there shall not be any more bad news or fatalities to be reported. So once again,
You
those of
know,
you
you know, you know,
send
Reneata, I never can fathom the fact that all of a sudden we do not seems to appreciate life. And our young people, I'm not sure what is it, but they do not seem to appreciate their lives, and they don't seem to appreciate the lives of others.
they don't see the value in it.
They don't
That's
see the value. Yeah, their life and their lives and the life of other persons.
It's
But
true.
this is really a sad state of affairs. Yes.
I don't know what can be done anymore at this point because it's not as though we're not talking. It's not as though there's no conversation on it. It's not as though it's not something happening all over the place that people are talking about. We've blamed music, we've blamed video games, we've blamed parenting, we've blamed schools. There's blame going around, but at the end of the day, the blame does not help the situation. We do not seem to get to the root of it at all, and it just seems to continue on and on again. I don't know what it is so that we can do at this point. We've tried gun control in some way. We've tried social programs. I don't know what else. And everybody's asking for the government to do something, but what can the government do? What is there that has not been tried?
Well, I guess we ought not to, in addition to all what is happening as a government, we have to continue the social program doing things. It's not just one item that is going to correct it. Because as you know, we did not reach where we are today overnight. It is a number of things that allowed to fester, and now we have the frankincense in the room. So now we have to see how best we can work at it again. And the work is working at it. We'll not get all the solutions overnight, but we have to chip at it and continue chipping at it and continue chipping at it and continue. All of us have to do our little part. Because you see, as parents, as adults, we can see the signs, and sometimes we turn our head instead of trying to address it, and if we cannot address it, trying to get help to address it.
That's true. And on that last note from Honorable Emma Hippolyte, I would like to thank you once again for coming on our program this evening on 88.5 Soufriere FM. I want to thank all our listeners on radio and those of you on our Facebook live chat. Thank you so very much for your feedback this evening. We definitely appreciate it. Next week, Tuesday, we will be having Philo St. Lucia, which is one of the companies which was present at the cannabis panel discussion. They're going to be coming on our show next week. So please prepare your cannabis related questions for next week, Tuesday. Until that time, we urge you to keep safe, keep praying, and together we will transform Soufriere for Seja.
As part of the mandate, as paper plates, plastic cups, bottles, and